Hey y'all, and welcome to another Accessibility Talks or Ally Talks. We are a monthly virtual meetup where we chat about digital accessibility, inclusivity, and usability. Each month we invite a speaker to present a topic, and afterward we invite you, the community, to ask questions and participate in the conversation. I'm the host today. My name is Amy June Heinlein. I use she and her pronouns. I am the certification community architect for the education team at the Linux Foundation, and that's a mouthful. For those who can't access this meetup visually, I'm a white woman with medium length strawberry blonde hair, and I'm wearing glasses today. Before we dive into the talk, we always want to take a moment to remind folks that our group is committed to creating a friendly and safe environment for everybody who participates. With saying that, we expect everyone, the speakers, the hosts, the viewers on YouTube, and those commenting on social media to follow the Accessibility Talks Code of Conduct. This applies to all of our interactions, including events, verbal questions, and chat in the text channels. If you want to see what the code of conduct is about, you can visit our website, A11yTalks.com /conduct. Our goal is to foster productive dialogue where participants can share and learn from each other in an atmosphere of mutual respect. And we love questions. This year, we're now inviting viewers to submit their questions ahead of each talk, so we incorporate them into the recording session. If you have a speaker or a question for our speaker, here's how you can ask. During the live stream video, type your question directly into the YouTube chat window. If you're not watching live, you can still post your questions. You can add them to the comments in YouTube, or you can share them on LinkedIn, Mastodon, or Blue Sky. Just make sure that you add us or include the hashtag Ally Talks. That's A11yTalks. Direct links to our social media platforms are listed on our website. And we really do look forward to hearing from you. Moving on to sponsors, huge shouts out to bronze sponsors Agile Collective and Principal Financial Group. We appreciate all the support. And then shout outs to our Ally Cat Club members as well, who donate monthly to Ally Talks, and to our generous one-time donors as well. Thank you so much for your support. Want to see you or your organization recognized as a sponsor for Ally Talks and help fund these amazing monthly meetups? You can visit our sponsorship page at allytalks/sponsorship to learn more. Your support helps us compensate our incredible and fabulous speakers and enhance our live stream production so we can deliver the best possible and accessible content to our community. If your company uses Benevity, and I might have really screwed that one up, for matching donations or gifts, you can double your contribution. Just search for Ally Talks and we should appear as Ally Talks by Midwest Open Source Alliance. And today we have Verónica Morales Beltrán, who is a digital accessibility consultant at Adesso. And the conversation today is more than words, how sign language unlocks new worlds. This is especially useful conversation for me because I am hard of hearing. And I also work with the Cloud Native Computing Foundation with the Deaf and Hard of Hearing group. So I'm hoping to take a lot of insights from here and bring it to the group.
Hello, everyone. So thanks, first of all, for having me. And I would like to introduce this topic today, which is very dear to my heart. And that would be great. If you have any questions, to just stop me at any point in time and just ask them. Otherwise, I would just start sharing what's on my plate and on my agenda today. So in this session, which is called More Than Words, How Sign Language Unlocks New World, we will be digging our knowledge into sign language. And by sign language, some people, they picture it only and simply as a tool for communication within the deaf and the hard of hearing community. But what I want to share with you today is that it's so much more than that. Sign language is not only a language, it's also a doorway into new ways of thinking and also new ways of connecting and offering new possibilities for inclusion. So over the next 40 to 50 minutes, we will explore together how sign language can become a kind of a superpower, one that sharpens our brain and also expands our empathy and helps us communicate in places where words alone can't reach. And the best part of this session is that you don't need to have any prior experience with signing. All you need to have is some curiosity and openness. And my goal for you is that you leave this session with not only a new perspective on communication, but also with some practical steps on how to begin your journey into learning and using also sign language in very meaningful ways. So I would say that we can start diving in. First of all, a bit about myself, so that you have a bit of a background why this topic is of so much interest to me. So first of all, since I was very little, I loved speaking languages, foreign languages. I was really, really good with English when I was at school, and then I started learning other languages, and so I decided to do my studies in the field of languages. And so I decided to study in Spain translation and interpreting, which is like combining from writing and also speaking, conveying the meaning from one language into the other. I also did a master's in ICT applied to foreign languages. Basically, my main goal was to, through the use of language, to make the content for the students much more accessible, and also to use also other tools which back then they were really new, which were like video games. I ended up doing my master thesis into the topic of video game localization into international Spanish. As you know, this is kind of made up language because there's no native person who is talking Spanish, international Spanish, sorry. All of us, we come from a different country, so you can have Spanish from Spain, from Mexico, from Chile, and this kind of international Spanish is like a way, like a neutral Spanish, so that everybody that are using Spanish so that we can understand each other. It's a bit similar like international sign language. Nobody's signing in international sign language, but it's a way to communicate across languages into one single language. Work-wise, I have been working also with languages, 12 years in the localization department for electronic arts here in Germany, in Cologne, and my focus was on handling the translation, not only for the text, but also for the videos and for the audios, everything that was content in the game. We were localizing it into the different locales, sometimes like even more than 20 or 30 languages. And I ended up leading the team that was providing the localizations. Then I think it was around 2020 when my kid was born, and I discovered and fell in love really. I was struck by accessibility, and I started learning more and more about it. And I realized that some of the things that I was already applying, either as a team lead or as a teacher before, that they were already accessible practices, and that's why I decided to take some examinations with the IAAP, and this is the Certified Professional in Accessibility Core Competences. And also I'm an accessible document specialist. And last but not least, I merge my two passions, which is on the one hand side accessibility, and on the other hand side video games. And now I am also a certified accessible player experience practitioners by Able Gamers. So all in all, as you can see, these were my interests, so culture, languages all the time, and video games. And I dig more my knowledge into the German Sign Language, because I am living in Germany. As I said before, I work in Cologne and I live in Cologne as well. So for me, the easiest way to get exposure to sign languages was to learn the sign language of the country where I'm living. In this case, it was the German Sign Language. I have to say, I also have knowledge of German spoken language and written language, but this is like two different things, as we will see in the next slides. And I'm currently working as a digital accessibility consultant also in a German company, which is Adesso. So all in all, this is about myself. And now let's go into the topic of sign language. And the first things that I'm bringing here is like demystifying sign language, because there's a lot of like misunderstanding about what it is and what it's not. So the most important thing is that sign language as such is a language on its own. It's a natural language that has been evolved through the years as any other spoken language. It has its own grammar, it has its own structure, and it has its own vocabulary. The fact that it's called German Sign Language doesn't have to do anything with the German language. There will be some vocabulary which they will be like one-to-one, but there will be vocabulary that is not easy to sign, or is not that there's not a sign for it. However, there will be other ways how to express it. I want to say this because many people think that German Sign Language is the signification, like with the hands, with the signs of the spoken language, but this is not the case. The grammar is completely different, the structure is completely different, and the vocabulary is completely different. You realize about this because, for instance, and I think it's the same in ASL, we will chat about this later if you want, but for instance, there's no conjugation of the verb. So I work is the same work, or she works. This changes in English, in spoken English, but in American Sign Language, it's just the same signs for the verb to work. And it's exactly the same for the verb to work in German, which is machen. And that's why, like, there are no declinations, for instance. There are no articles. So in German, we have der, die, das, which is he, she, masculine, feminine, and neutral. But in sign languages, there are no, at least in German, and I think ASL, there are no articles because they are not needed. So each language, they have their own vocabulary, as I said. And in my case, since I was learning German Sign Language, I know how the things are pronounced. So if I would want to say like, I live in Germany, in German Sign Language would be I in Germany live. So the verb would go actually at the end of the sentence, just for you to understand how complex just a simple sentence can get, and how different it is the structure from German language to sign German language. So the cool thing about sign languages is that people can sign across distances, and they can also sign between conversations. And this was one of the things that struck me the most when I was learning German Sign Language, because we were all placed in the classroom in a kind of a circle. And so the teacher asked us, okay, now you can talk with the person in front of you. And I realized it was the first ever language classroom where we, all of us, could communicate without bothering each other, because we were using not spoken words by signs. So that for me was like an eye-opening moment, and I thought, okay, that's really cool. Actually, I can, like in another with another spoken language, we would have taken turns, or we would have placed ourselves in different parts of the classroom, so that we would not disturb our colleagues. But in this sense, it was just like, okay, it's really actually really cool. Like we can communicate across the distance, and also like within conversations that are happening around us. Another thing about that I loved about learning sign languages is that nobody realizes that you're a foreigner. So this is a big win, because it's happened to me, and I think most of us who live in foreign countries, like it's really hard to learn the language of the country that you're living. And not only the language, and not only the vocabulary, but also the way that it sounds. Sometimes it's just like by opening our mouth, after 2 or 3 seconds, people are like, oh, this is such a nice accent. Where are you coming from? So you need to explain yourselves. This with sign languages, it didn't happen to me. So I was signing in the classroom, and then I think by the end of the last session, after 5 days, I think my colleagues realized I am not German, native German, but that I come from Spain. So that was for me also like a big win. Like we could communicate without making biases or implying misconceptions that would be like, okay, she's not from here, so where is it? Where is she from? She has a different accent. So I found this really interesting. And also, as any other language, like sign language, as same as spoken languages, they evolve with time. So there are some signs which in the past they might have been used, and now they are not accepted anymore. So yeah, they are. There is not a single sign language, as I said before. Like each territory, they have their own sign languages, and even within the same country, there might be huge variances between how people are signing in one region or the other. One common question also is like, which hand should I use to sign? Like usually it comes naturally. So if I am right-handed, so usually I would use my right hand to sign. However, there are some signs, like as I was saying before, like to do, machen in German, it's like this. This means to do. I hope that you can see it through the webcam and doesn't bother my name there. So for instance, this you need two signs, or for instance, which is like interpret, you also need two hands for it. Sorry, not two hands to do the sign. And last but not least, I would like to talk about the diversity of the sign languages, because as I said, there are many, many languages. I think over the world, there are more than 300 different sign languages, and each region or each country, they have their own one. So we have ASL, which is for US, and I believe also Canada. We have BSL for the UK, we have LSF for France, we have KSL for Korean Sign Language, or DGS, which is Deutsche Gebärdensprache for German. So all in all, it's very rich across the globe. And then expanding the benefits of learning sign language, as we were mentioning at the beginning of this session. So it's kind of like a superpower, I would say, because it boosts the memory. So all the signs, there is only one way to understand what they mean and also to kind of reproduce them. And this is through boosting the memory and recalling them. It also enhances the reasoning about visual and spatial, in the spatial sense, because with sign languages, it's very important not only what we do with our hands, how we sign it, but it's also very important the way that that our mimic on our face can say a lot, and also our posture with the body. We can say if things are happening in future or if things are happening in the past, just by like taking into account where our body is standing right now and how the hand is moving in front or in the back. And also, last but not least, I would say that it also can strengthen the spoken language skills, because I also realized that when I was learning sign language, I needed many few signs, as I thought I would need like with spoken languages. So I had always the feeling that the more you explain, the easier it gets, but sometimes it's not the case. So sign languages, they are also very concrete, and they are also very like direct to the point. So that's why you will see where people are when people are interpreting between spoken and sign languages, you will realize that the way that when someone is speaking and the sentence is ending, usually the sign language interpreter has already kind of used the signs that they need in order to finish the sentence at the same time, more or less. You will hardly see that there's the spoken language, and you will hardly see that there's a big delay. And that's why sign languages are very concise. When we were learning, our teacher said, you are trying to make a sign out of everything that you would be speaking, and this is not working, like we don't need that many explanations. We just, like if you sign it right and if you sign it properly, then your message will come across. You don't need that much. So that's why I think it can also strengthen our spoken skills, because when we realize how much we are saying when we are talking, and this in sign language, it wouldn't be the case. Then there are the emotional and social and emotional benefits. And of course, when we are learning a language, this means that we are in a situation where we are understanding and being more empathetic to the others. We can also understand their perspective as well. We can maybe understand why there are some miscommunications between deaf or hard of hearing communities and also people who are spoken. And maybe the communication is too direct for people who are speaking, but this is the way also that they kind of interact with sign languages. So I think this is a great example of how learning a new language, it can also bring you this benefit of understanding, okay, this is what the person tried to communicate, maybe in an email. It was not rough, it's just that it was direct to the point. So the main aim is to build some kind of bridges across the cultures within the same territory, like signers of sign languages and also people who are speaking with their spoken languages. And the aim, most of it, is just to provide some kind of inclusion and also belonging for everyone. It doesn't matter the way that they are speaking or which modality they are using to communicate. And also, I would like to talk about the everyday usefulness of sign languages. We can see that, as I said, my very first example about signing across conversations, I would say that's a very useful thing. And also, like in noisy places, we have concerts, we have airports, so we would not be able to communicate with each other if the place is really, really loud. So in that case, sign languages can indeed come across and make this communication possible. Also with children, there is children which are pre-verbal, so maybe before they will learn how to talk, or children or adults also who are non-verbal. So they are not using their voices to communicate, but they are using sign languages. And of course, in places such as in healthcare and also in classrooms, we don't know who our students are going to be. And it would be great if some kind of knowledge about sign language would be there also from the teachers, for instance, because I think that would also give another perspective, and they would, like, the welcoming feeling would be much easier and much better, knowing that maybe not everyone can speak, but they can still communicate with you. Then expanding the human connection in this sense. So as we saw, the real world applications, we were just discussing about it. So we have the classrooms, and we want to achieve inclusive education, and that does not only mean that the materials with which the students are learning, that they are inclusive, that they can be magnified, or that they have proper color contrast so that the text can be read, but also, like, it goes beyond that. It goes the way that we communicate, which language are we using in the context, and how we can make it accessible for everyone. Also in hospitals, same as in classroom, we don't know who is gonna pop up in the door in the next 5 or 10 minutes. It could be someone who is missing a limb, or it could be someone who is also not speaking, and they need the use of sign language. So in patient care, this is very, very important in order not to add an extra burden to the patient who has already some difficulties or some challenges that brought them to this hospital or to this place, in order to be taken care of, and communication should be the basis. And also, of course, in workplaces or also in public spaces. So as we said, so restaurants or customer service, and this should be also like broaden, and we should try to make the connections as as post as broaden as possible. And of course, learning sign language, that also means joining a very vibrant and a global community, and showing respectful and engagement with the deaf community and the deaf culture. So following the nothing about us without us principle. So that's a great initiative and also way of thinking. So when we are trying to get sign language in the process, or when we want to get sign language as part of our new ways of communicating, we should make sure that deaf or hard of hearing people who are native signers, that they are involved, so that they can also provide you the best feedback. So we do this in order to communicate with them. We do this also for them, but we also do it for us, people who are speaking, but they also want to engage with this community. So all in all, it would be a benefit for everyone if people are engaged from the beginning on. Then, of course, technology is a big part in our day-to-day lives, and that's why I created this mini chapter about technology and accessibility related with in relation with sign languages. And we have seen that the rise of AI and the rise of technology in the past years has been really quickly. And of course, this has a massive impact on the different communities, sometimes for the good, and sometimes there are still some things which are not really working and where the community still is complaining. So I would like to mention the sign language, the signing avatars, and also the AI interpreters. So there is a difference between using an avatar, thinking that this avatar will understand what we are saying in sign language, and also will interpret and will communicate us in sign language back. There are many or some companies that they claim that they arrived to this level, but we are not there yet. I think if you ask any member from the deaf or hard of hearing community, I think the nature of the language is so rich and is so context based, and it's so much like it's something that you really feel that it's not there yet. It's not there yet to be understood by the machine, and it's not there yet to be even like communicating with you with machines, even with AI and learnings and so on. What does indeed exist, and that I have witnessed myself, is there are some products out in the market that they can make like avatars accessible. They are based on people who have been signing with everything, with all the fingers. They have been recorded, also the posture, even up to the feet, or also the head. Everything it's being kind of recorded, and they are signing this. They are native sign language speakers behind this, and this is something which is working, because it works a bit like on the train, when they said like, you are arriving to station exit on your so it's this kind of communication where you can easily replace the words, where it's actually working. So nothing to do with feelings, nothing to do with something which technology cannot really cope with that as of now. We will see in future, but as of now there are some things which are positive, and this is like kind of a scalable, because it's really easy to replace the signs, and then the avatar will create something which has been already using the source of everything, which was a person which was native and signing properly. There is a lot of work involved into that, so it doesn't happen like overnight. And yeah, but it's technology that can help for the most basic things, like, I don't know, emergency signals or emergency communication which should be accessible for everyone, not just depending which kind of modality is being used. And also, in regards to this, the future of universal design, it's also at stake, because more and more we are seeing that the environments where we are enjoying everything, it might be the cinema, the theater, at home. So everything is becoming more multimodal. This means that there are several modalities happening at the same time. And that's why sign language needs to be part of that. We shouldn't leave sign language at the back, because it's a very close way to express what is happening maybe on a theater, and it's really a different experience than just reading subtitles, for instance. So all in all, yeah, the future of universal design will be probably very multimodal, and that's why sign language should be part of it. Then I brought you something here. As I said, you don't need to have any knowledge of sign language in order to enjoy this talk today. But I thought it would be nice to show you like the American Sign Language alphabet. I am very much more skilled with the German one, because this is what I studied. I also saw that some signs, they are exactly the same, which was also a pleasant surprise, because then when you are learning another sign language, this is much more easy. And here you have the alphabet with all the signs for it. If you would like, you can pause this recording now. You can just give it a try yourself. I will just do this with my name because it's quite long. So it's Verónica, and I think I can do that also in ASL. And that would be Veronica. That would be Veronica, for instance. We are not signing all the time. When we want to refer to someone, we are not signing it like letter by letter, but what we are having is a def name, so to say, which is related to the person. In my case, I love sewing. So since I started learning sign language, my def name, it would be like this, like with the needle that you are sewing. So when people want to refer to me, that would be the sign that they would be using, instead of just using all the letters in the alphabet. When you are trying, if you're wondering yourself, okay, how can I start learning? Should I do it on my own? Should I visit some classes? So I would recommend you to check on your local communities, because for instance, here in Germany, in Cologne, we have really good courses which are open for everyone. Everyone can take part of them. They are not too expensive, and it's a great opportunity to learn a language with someone, which I think at the beginning is very much needed. Also to understand the basics of it, like what we were explaining before, how important it is, the posture, the facial expressions, and so on. There are also some online resources and apps that you can use, and of course you can check with the deaf organizations. They have from time to time a lot of cultural events also, so you can also try to visit those events and yeah, be brave and try it little by little. I would say the community is also very welcoming. At least this is my case. When I try to sign in German, everybody was very helpful, and they were really happy that I could sign some words or some sentences, and I was always welcomed. When you are trying to learn, so please be respectful, learn with humility as you would do with any other language. Use the signs to kind of include yourself in the conversation, and kind of to understand also what others want to know and want to share, and do not try to perform, because this is not well seen, of course. And support the deaf leadership and advocacy whenever possible. So we are reaching the end of this session, and I would like to give you some takeaways. Um, for me, sign language is more than just a means of communicating and a means to expressing. The more that you know about it, the more that you fall in love with it, because it's really beautiful. You can learn many signs within 1 week. I was able to speak about things in the present, in the future, and in the past. So the way that you are learning is really, really rapidly. And it's also like a benefit for the cognitive and the social and cultural aspect, because learning a language is also learning about their culture, learning about their struggles, learning about the challenges that they have on their day-to-day life. And I think it's really, really enriching to realize that people who are living in the same country where you are, they are using another way of expressing, and this is something that you can only realize when you are trying to learn about it, to know more about them, to know more about the language, to know more about the way that they use a play on words, to know about the way they swear. They It's a full complete language as any other language. And yeah, I would recommend you to give it a try and try learning some signs every week, and try to connect with the communities, because at the end of the day, the way that you will learn faster is also by utilizing the language on a day-to-day basis. So the more that you are exposed to it, not only like watching videos, but also like talking and signing, with the community, then you will get more into it. And all in all, what we want to do is that we want to expand the way that we communicate, and also to expand also the ways that we connect with each other. And sign language is a great example for that. I brought as well some resources here, and as we were talking about multimodal and how important this is gonna be in future, I thought I will not only share with you some of the usual resources, like it could be a book or it could be a website, but I'm bringing you a bit of everything, so maybe you will find something that touches your soul. So for further reading, watching, and playing, the first link, Sign Languages Around the World, is a compilation of videos about sign languages that they were recorded for different signs. So if you go to the web page and then you look up for something like video games, it will appear on the bottom of the page the word video game in different sign languages, and then you can see how similar they are, or also how different they are. There are sign languages like European sign languages, American sign languages, but there are also some Asian sign languages, and I found that also very, very interesting, because each country they have like a different mentality of how they make the conception of the sign. So I found that really interesting. Then we have a well-known book about ASL, which is signing naturally. If you are into video games, you can also play harmonium, the musical. This has been developed with deaf and the hard of hearing communities. They have been providing feedback from the beginning in this video game, and it's about a girl who is all into music. And music and deaf people, contrary to what some can believe, it can work, and it works perfectly. So even if you cannot hear or you don't hear fully, there's still the possibility to create beautiful melodies, and also to fall in love with the music. Then we have a film which is Coda, and this is in English. I bet you can watch it now in any other language with subtitles, but they are using ASL because they are signing ASL on the film. The characters, I believe all of them, if not all of them, like most of them, they are also deaf characters, which is one of the things about about representation of the deaf community. So why choose someone who is not deaf to sign as a deaf, but also choose the actors and actresses who are deaf and who can perform much better and much realistic. If you are into German sign language, I brought you here a program which is seeing instead of hearing, sehen statt hören. And this is available with a voiceover and also with subtitles. If you are more into sign languages around the world, there's a compilation of the alphabets here on that link, sign language alphabets around the world. And one of my favorite TED Talks of all times is about, it's from Christine Sun Kim, and she's explaining her relationship with sign language and music. It's a 15 minutes video, super worth watching. And yeah, and I won't spoil the end, so I prefer that you will go into the TED Talks and just give it a go, because she's signing and there's a sign interpreter also speaking, so you will get yeah, you will understand what it's all about when you watch it. So I would like to thank you for your time, for your engagement about this topic. I'm keen on following conversations either today, or if not, you can always catch me on LinkedIn. There's the link on the slides, but you can also like type my name, Verónica, with or without accents. It will work. Morales Beltrán, also with or without accents. And yeah, I'm happy to continue conversations about this topic, which I said it's very dear to my heart, and it's something that I think it deserves the exposure that it has in this Ally Talk. And now I'm up for any question that you might have.
Thanks, Veronica. I actually was reminded about, like, my kids are quite a bit older now, but when they were little, they invented their own form of sign language so they could communicate quietly amongst themselves and be, because we have deaf friends and they could always like eavesdrop, right? Or whatever the equivalent is that. But they learned that so they could not be disruptive in public in school and not get in trouble for talking. So that was a really fond memory that came back. When you mentioned that people might not realize someone is native because they use sign language instead of spoken language, it really made me think about that, because I hadn't considered that before, because we do live in a global community and sometimes we do have unintentional or unconscious bias when we hear people speak. And so that was sort of an enlightening thing for me as well.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, because I was exposed to this myself, I was thinking, nobody asked me. It's the first thing that people ask, right? Like, oh, where do you come from? You have such a nice accent, blah, blah, blah. So, and then I learned, and then really after 5 days, people realized, oh, you're not German. And I was like, no, I'm not. But that's also fine, because we are signing, and then we don't care where you are coming from, because there's nothing that, yeah, that we can kind of, yeah, with our hands, like we can say, this is sign a bit different, since we were all starting from scratch, right? I believe if you are maybe, if you're signing in ASL and maybe you are learning another sign language, maybe they can say, ah, you are from this country. Maybe they can, but with me, it was not the case. And I was surprisingly very happy about that the first time.
Yeah. No, that's great. I work with a lot of communities at conferences and things like that come from
Yeah.
everywhere. And so when our group signs, it's interesting because some people are, ASL isn't their native sign language. And so it's always interesting. But so we have some questions for you. The first one is, can tech help hearing people connect with deaf communities more easily?
Yeah, I think I overflew this in the slides today. So the potential is there, but we need to make sure that all the data with which the tools and AI is being like created, that they are not just isolated, but that they take into account the needs, and also that they kind of like get all the feedback from the deaf communities. If we have seen it already, like if you write to any AI, give me a picture of a CEO, it will never be a black woman, it will never be a woman, it will be a guy, probably with a beard, probably with wrinkles, because he's used to work at night, he's this guy super all into work. So we need to go away from that, we need to go away from this bias, and we have the chance now, because now the systems are being created. Maybe it's a bit too late still, but I don't know, I still have the hope that we can get the communities to be involved, and so that they can have their voices heard, their signs understood, so that this is created from them and also for them, that they are not anyone else is being created it on the site. So I think that's key in order to make this technology like play a good role. Otherwise, it's gonna be it's not gonna be useful, because we're gonna create things for deaf people. For instance, they were not involved. The result is gonna be a catastrophe, and they are not gonna feel represented. And even worse, like I know that there's shortage at some point with the sign language interpreters. There's shortage because maybe there are not as many, at least here in Germany. So if we are trying to, okay, we overstep the human step with it, which is a sign language interpreter, and then we go already to the technical solution, which is actually not a solution. This is not gonna help them. It's just gonna make them feel frustrated and make them want to hate the technology because it's not being used properly.
Right, right. That's a good point. So how is AI translating sign language? And you kind of alluded to this. Where does it fall short?
Yeah, it's so hard because it's so contextual, everything. This is the sign for salt, but it's also for sugar. So how, at least in German sign language, I'm not sure, probably in ASL is the same. So it's the only way, like reading the lips and making sure that all of this needs to be kind of tracked in the systems, like with this motion captioning, it's called, like with the fingers and everything, so that the context behind that and everything behind that is proper. If it's not proper, it's not gonna work. And yeah, something is that so simple such as salt, then suddenly is sugar. So yeah.
Right. I don't like I don't know if this will stand the test of time, but I found that when the shelter in place, when the pandemic first started,
Mm,
Zoom using Otter AI for transcriptions got so much better, so
mm,
much quicker because it had that learning model behind it. I guess I can only hope that the learning model will increase if we feed it more, and like
exactly.
have that. But I personally haven't seen any of those models. Like I haven't interacted with AI for sign language yet. So I want to I'd find that interesting how they track it over time. The more people that use it in meetings, like in Zoom, no one used captions and transcriptions before, but
Mm,
now we all do. You know what I mean? And if we have this be
mm,
this common thing that it comes free in these uh, meeting platforms, because when
exactly.
it's a paid product, then we don't get that exposure from everyone. So I'm
Mm.
interested in seeing how that might turn out over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I would say that also improved a lot. I can say that from my own experience. Like when I talk in German and it's picking up my words, it's much better now than it was some years before. Of course, I got better at German, spoken German, but it was not too bad some years ago. But now I realize that it's picking up accents differently, and it's also possible to transcribe what I'm saying, and it's not my native language. So before, if you wouldn't speak it properly, like as spoken in the dictionary, or I don't know what methods they did to train the tools back then, it wouldn't pick it up. It would pick up something else, as if I would be speaking in English but with the German settings or something like that. So that in that case it also got better, and I think like the subtitles and everything is really good. And still I think some deaf and hard of hearing people, not everyone, but I still think that they feel that they are reading is very tiring to be reading all the time.
Yeah.
Very, very tiring. They cannot follow conversations. Let's say if they want to note something down, like, okay, wait a second, they cannot make the recording pause and then just, if they write something down, this subtitle is gone and then they are losing part of it. So sign language in that case, I think it's more, I don't know, you can skip a bit and you can still get the whole meaning about it, right? Of course, it's a great tool, and all videos, please, with captions, with subtitles, with everything. I'm not against that, but it's just like, just to say that the communities, they need much more than that. They need to be able to get information in the way that they can consume it best, right?
Yeah, so I work for the Linux Foundation,
Mhm.
helping to create certifications for emerging technologies and stuff like that. And I've mentioned I work with the deaf and hard of hearing community. So this question is selfish because I want my friends in the deaf community to be able to be certified and have the same exposure to learning assessments. But I realize people who sign natively, like you said, transcripts and captions just don't work effectively for them since the written language, like you mentioned in your presentation, follows different grammar rules and it's structured different. So how can we better support these individuals who are exposed to these classic exam portals or learning assessments? Like, how can we support them when they're taking these exams? Is there a
Yeah.
solution or an idea?
That's a good question, because I would say like maybe, but this would involve a lot of work and resources and money. I know, but I mean, I'm just dreaming big, right? So why not? But I think like the first of all, like the exams, like we are thinking about exam as something written, but maybe there's another way of checking if the knowledge is there or not. Maybe there's another way of, instead of having a written exam, maybe there's a way to have like a oral or translated or interpreted exam, so that we can judge, okay, this person knows about the topic or doesn't know about the topic. So judging all the time with the writing skills. Maybe people know a lot of things, but they cannot express themselves that good. I mean, and we know there are many other people having dyslexia, dyscalculia. So it's many people who are like judged by the same pattern, but we're all different. So what we need to do is to make it possible to test people in the way that they feel more comfortable. And I know, again, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of resources. It's many things involved, but the possibilities are there. It's everything outside. We have interpreters. There are means of communicating differently. It's just that, yeah, the standards are like they are right now, but this doesn't mean that they cannot change in future.
Yeah, and we saw that with in the 60s and 70s when Braille became more popular, translating into Braille. And that was expensive at first, but now it's just what we do as a standard for the most part. So that would be great to see our deaf and hard of hearing folks more supported.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what new innovations are most exciting for expanding accessibility with sign language?
So, if the data and everything AI related would be properly done, I think we do have a chance there to make it even more, I mean, to make it more inclusive. Um, this is like on the technology wise. And then I think like a lot of awareness, like what we are doing right now, speaking about that this is a language as such, speaking about that there's this awareness, thinking that these people, as people call it, like is like they are people from outside of our world. No, they are not. I went to the doctor and then there was someone signing. I was super excited. I was like, this is my chance now to sign something. My kid, he knows sign language because I taught him. I taught him the sign of three. I taught him his name. So he was able to communicate, and it was such a beautiful moment. So thinking about the awareness, I think, is one of the main things that is bringing us forward. So thinking that there are other people, that they are communicating different, Different doesn't mean worst. Different means just different. And it's beautiful if you give it a chance and if you talk to them or if you sign with them or if you're interested in knowing how their lives are, what are their struggles, their positive things, the challenges, everything. So I think there are two things, like one on the mental side, like the awareness, and then on the other side, it's like technology wise, right? It's moving faster and faster and faster and faster. Yeah, okay, but where are we going actually? What do we want to achieve? What do we want to have them? So it's many things, many levels, and I know that for many years the community hasn't been happy about everything, the education, the way that they can or can't access the job market when they know, oh, someone is deaf. We don't have any means to communicate, so it's just the door is closed. We need to think farther than this. It's not just the person cannot speak, so we cannot do anything with this person, but there must be other ways. I mean, we can communicate writing, we can have translators, we can also learn ourselves. Many people are asking me, so why you are not deaf, or your kid is not deaf, so why are you learning sign language? Why are people asking me this and not why I'm not learning? Why they are not asking me, why are you learning German?
Right.
Why not? I mean, I am learning it because I love languages. I want to understand. Not even someone who is living in Tokyo or in Japan, sorry. I want to understand the colleague which is here and which is closer to me. And we speak different languages and we cannot communicate to each other because I don't know the language, I could learn it. So that's why, like, there are reasons for it to learn it, and for me it's beautiful. Whenever I can, I talk about this topic because it's really, really dear to my heart, even though it's not something that I need on my daily basis, but I do want to use it and I do want to communicate with others. And it goes both sides, right? Like, what can communities do, or what can the rest of the world do for the communities? It's always very easy to say, you should do this, you should get an interpreter. Yeah, okay, what about us? Did we do something for them? Did we do something to integrate them in our day-to-day things that we're doing? So it's two things, the technology, but also the awareness about
Yeah.
it.
And I think sign language is the most like uh, easily accessible because a lot of the signs are true to like what we're thinking, and I think that's more universal than learning that singular spoken language.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. I mean, and in German, especially, the words are very long. The words are extremely long. The sentences are also very long. And then you come, and then with a couple of signs, you're like, I did it. I did everything that I wanted to say in, I don't know, in 30 seconds. Now it's compiled within 4 signs. And that's why
Right.
the teacher, it was like, no, cut it short. We wanted to do everything, like the front door of the house is blue, blah, no. He was like, no, you need to cut it shorter. You need to cut it shorter, and we will understand you in any case. And it works like that. That's why, like, it's amazing the amount of things that you can sign in such a few time.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Veronica. I love this talk. Like I said, I work with people and I'm excited that we're going to have an ASL interpreter come on to the talk. And so when the video comes out, it's going to be in sign language as well. So thank you. I just loved it. And for our audience, we are always looking for new speakers and new voices for people to come on and talk about accessibility. We do make a very conscious effort to include historically marginalized groups in tech in our speaker lineup. So if you're interested, reach out to us at team@a11yTalks.com. And for those who are part of the IAAP community, we do qualify for professional development credits, our CAECCs. So be sure that you look into that when you go to recertify. We'd love your feedback on how we're doing and what we can do better. So go to allytalks.com/feedback to share positive and or less than positive feedback. We really value everyone's input. And then be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube so you never miss what we're talking about. We're youtube.com /C/ accessibility. Now, I'm not going to go through and spell out all the links, but they'll be posted in the YouTube chat as we go. But we're on LinkedIn, we're on Blue Sky, we're on Mastodon, and we are on YouTube. So thanks everyone. Again, thanks Veronica for coming on and sharing your knowledge, and we'll see everyone next month.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.